Please, if you can hear me, can you just type hi or hello in the chat section? Let me be sure we are all on the same page. Okay, so a lot of people can hear me. Okay, so as I was saying, good evening once again, everyone. This is I'm your facilitator for the class today. So the speaker for today is Ridwan Amore, and he's going to be taking us from the introduction from modules 1 to module 4. But he's going to handle module 1 and 2 today, and then we continue tomorrow. So Ridwan, over to you, please.
I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, Ridwan.
Okay, that's fantastic. All right, you are welcome to this Python section. Uh, this network. I'm very sure you all have the notebook. So can you mute your mic? Okay, so can you all launch your
Hello, Ridwan, we can't hear you. Ridwan.
I think it's the network.
Okay, he'll come back on. So what he was saying is let's all launch our notebooks. So for your notebooks for module 1 and 2, well, the notebook labeled 1 to 4. So I'm sure we've all downloaded it. So let's try launching it now. So he'll take us through. I'm sure by the time we are done, he should be back up. Ridwan, we can't hear you.
Okay, I'm still here. I'm just having a little bit of network issue.
Okay. If it's not too much of a bother, would you mind me sharing the screen with the notebook while you voice over? Is that fine?
Okay, all right, no problem. That'll be okay. That's okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so while we wait for the notebook to load, let me briefly explain some things to you. You see, Python is a powerful programming language in the sense that when you understand the basics of Python, you can do whatever you wish to do with it. You'll have had people using Python for software development. You'll have had people using Python for network analysis. You'll have had people using Python for doing so many things. What you can do with Python is actually limited by your own ability to manage. Now, another beautiful thing about Python is that whatever Python does not have, that whatever limitation that you think Python has, you can always add your own to it. It's so dynamic that you can contribute to it, and everybody in the world is going to adopt your own contribution as long as it is meaningful and it has not been done before. Another thing about Python is if you run into any particular problem, there's a large community of Python users, even in Nigeria, not to talk of the world, that can help you to solve your problem. I hope I'm making myself clear. I can, is the notebook not launching? I can. Okay, that's good. So let's continue.
Please, you cannot hear you again.
Ridwan, are you still with us?
If you have the notebook with you, let's continue while we wait for our admin to launch. If you have the notebook with you, you notice that what the heading is about what basic mathematics. Now, I won't lie to you. A software developer, back end, front end, whatever you're going to do, you need to understand at least a little bit of mathematics. So that's how we're going to work. We're going to start demonstrating the power that Python has using basic mathematics. And you don't forget, when we're in elementary school, we did something about BODMAS that tells us what the order of operation, right? So Python also used what that particular order of operation. So it's what it operates on things that are in the parentheses first, followed by exponent, the multiplication, division, remainder, addition, and subtraction. So that is the order of operation in Python. Are you following, please? Please, you can respond to the chat room, so I will know I'm not talking to myself. Okay, good. So now I think our admin is back. We are running now. Now, another thing you must notice is this: for your code to be readable by other people. In fact, even if you don't want to do it for other people, do it.
Hello, Ridwan, we can't hear you. Hello?
Maybe Ridwan is using MTN. So I think, Karen, people are asking that how are they going to launch their notebook? Probably you should answer and let people know how they can launch their notebook.
Okay, so the installation guide was sent and it was quite explicit, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen. I should have shared it when I was launching. So I'm going to share my screen again. So I'll share my entire desktop. So please follow through, right? My screen share. Okay, so if you can see my screen, just type yes in the chat section. So I know that you're on. Okay, yes. Okay, so if you go to your start pane, right, you just type Anaconda. If you've installed it, if you type AS, it should come up. And then you open. So open, when you click on open, it runs and then it opens. So Anaconda is a web-based package. It opens on your browser. So mine uses Opera Mini. So when it opens, the interface looks okay, let me just run it again so you can see what I'm saying. So if I click on Anaconda, I click on it and then this happens. And then it takes a bit of a while, right? So exactly. So the interface looks when it launches, it looks something like this. And then there are different types. There's Spider, Orange, Jupyter, PowerShell, of course, for different applications. But for this class, we are using the Jupyter notebook. So when you click on launch, it goes directly to your browser and then it launches. So voila, that's Jupyter. So I hope we're all on the same page. So it opens this way.
So you click on launch where?
So if you
like you're fast.
Oh, sorry.
Click
Click on
launch.
launch. Launch is right here. If you can see my screen, launch is right here. Yeah.
Okay,
So
please. After launching, where are we to access the notes itself?
it comes up it's a web-based program, so it comes up in any of your browsers. So mine uses Opera Mini. So
Yeah,
you should
I
just
know.
check.
I said after launching the Jupyter Notes.
Okay, so you downloaded the notebooks already, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you go to your files, so Jupyter accesses your file explorer directly. So you go to your files. So I saved mine in download. So these files, so these are all the folders in your C drive. So you click download. So I saved mine in downloads, right? So if I click on downloads right now, I can see all the documents there. So you can see the notebooks appear first before folders. So you can click on the particular notebook. For this class, the notebook you want to be downloading is 1 to 4 EAGE Nigerian Council, Nigerian Chapter YP Python Virtual Classroom. That's what we're waiting for today and tomorrow.
Sorry, mine is opening as a software, not as a web-based application.
Read one. Are you there?
Yeah, that is fine. If it's
I'm there.
do the same.
As long as you have this interface that Karen is showing, navigate to where the file is and open it.
Okay, so Oluwatimile, your hand is raised. What do you want to say something in the chat box? You can unmute yourself to speak, please.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I've been trying to launch the Anaconda. I'm having the same problem, so I'm trying to.
Did you follow the steps I just demonstrated?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do now.
Okay, so Ridwan, over to you, please.
Thanks.
Okay, can you open the notebook, Karen, please? So that... Okay, so I'll read together as everyone be able to open their notebook now. Okay, let's proceed then. Let's proceed. Okay, so that's
sorry, I didn't.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't. Please, where are we going to see the note download?
Where did you download it to? You will navigate to the folder where you downloaded it to. If you downloaded it inside your download folder, just click on file. You will see those folder listed there. Click on it. It will open the folder. When you get to that folder, look for the particular file that you downloaded and click on it. Then it will open.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right.
Hello, excuse me. Please,
yeah.
which of the file are we opening now?
1 to 4. 1 to 4. 1 to 4.
Okay.
Are we together now? Can I continue now? Can I continue now?
Yes, please.
Okay, that's good. So we've talked about what I hope when I was talking about mathematics and comments, everybody could hear me. I was not on mute then. Okay, so now since we are going to be dealing with data in this particular section, I have to tell you the kind of data that we have in Python, the kind of data that Python usually processes. Basically, it can be agreed that there are over, let me say, approximately 36 built-in data types in Python. We have integers, we have real numbers, we have complex numbers, we have string, list, tuple, dictionary, set, frozen set, we have file, we have the non-type, and we have the function type. Now, like I said earlier, you can always define that thing that you need. If there's a particular data that you want to treat at an advanced level that is not described by each of these built-in data types, you can define yours. For example, in the second part or the third part of this section, you'll be using pandas and numpy to do some analysis. Those are what they introduce what additional data types. So those libraries are there for you to solve other problems. If you know you can develop others that will help other set of people to solve their own problems, you can always do it. That's the beauty of Python. You can always add to it by creating your own function. Now, what are floats? Floats are just real numbers with decimal in programming, in any programming language. Floats are just what? They're just numbers with decimal points. Why integers are just what? For mathematics, integers are what are positive or negative numbers. They don't have decimal point. They are whole number. You can see that in your notebook. And strings are just what? They are characters. You get it? They are characters, and we enclose characters in quotation marks. You can use single quotation, you can use double quotation, anyone you prefer. Just make sure that what you are consistent all through. For example, in the notebook, under basic slicing and immutability, you will notice that what A equals to what ABC. ABC there is what is a single quote. B equals to what DEF. DEF there is in double quotes. So whichever code that you use that to define that particular string, just ensure that what you are consistent with it. Now look at the integer column. I hope everyone is following. Look at the integer column. We have what A equals to 1, B equals to -7, C equals to 2. Now look at that. A and B are both integers. C is a Boolean operator. C is a Boolean value. Boolean values are values that take either true or false, yes or no, or 0 and 1. Now, we have what print A plus B plus C. Print is a function that helps us to display what we are doing. It's adding what A to B to C. A plus B, that's -1 -7, that's -6. The -6 plus C. Now, C there evaluates to 1 because what? False is 0, true is 1. It's automatically. Now, you see, you don't need to tell Python that what to take the C to be 1. It automatically dictates it to be true, and it turns it to what? To 1. Are you following, please?
Sorry, where are you?
So, read one. Exactly.
Yes.
Can you follow? I'm sharing the slides, right? So
Yes, I'm following. Yes, I'm following it. We are under. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but it's like we are not following the slide.
Hello, Ridwan. Good evening, all. I think Ridwan is better for you to let's work with your own slide. Are they sharing 2 slides?
Ridwan has internet issues. That's why I'm presenting instead of him.
I think that's why we're having the conflict.
Okay, all right. So, everybody, when Karen is now on this slide, we are all here, right?
Yes.
We are all here, variables and type. That's what we have now, right?
Yes, we are there. We're there.
Okay, now I said we have approximately what 36 variable types. Did we get that?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. So now I'll explain what. So floats are just what? They are just numbers with decimal points. You get? They are just what numbers with decimal points. What integers are what? Integers are whole numbers. So complex numbers are numbers that contain what the imaginary root I or J. So those are complex numbers. You can see examples there. Can you go down? Can you scroll down, please? Can you scroll down, please?
Okay, sorry, I think I have a suggestion. Since Ridwan's internet is stable, let Ridwan share the slide.
Yeah, great, better.
So that we'll be able to follow his pace.
Yeah, I think since he's a facilitator, better he shares the slide and we follow his cue.
And read one, please. I think just an observation. Please don't go at a very fast pace. Just like slowly, 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 so that people will be able to like grab everything.
Okay, I'm still waiting.
Ridwan, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, so what are you waiting for exactly? Hello? Hello, read one.
Hello, yes, I can hear you. I thought
Okay.
I thought I was going to share my own screen so that they could follow at my own pace.
Okay,
Yes,
please
I
try
think
sharing.
it's better for let
Okay.
everyone share a screen. And please
Okay.
let every other person mute their mic. We can hear some background baby voice. So if the host can actually mute some people's mic so that we'll have one class.
Ridwan, we are not hearing you.
So what I think Ridwan is trying to share his slide. So Karen, please, I think why if Ridwan is able to share his slide, I think how you can also help out so that we'll have one classes. If people are asking like maybe like having difficulty and they're typing messages on the chat session, probably you can just reply them via the chat session so that everybody won't be talking at the same time too. So if anybody have any concern, you can just tell them, like you can just like answer the questions, and so that they won't interrupt Ridwan while he's talking or everything, so that we can be able to like continue. So Ridwan, are you with us?
Okay, and by the way, it's not Ridwan's slide he's trying to share. He's trying to share his notebook. His notebook labeled 1 to 4. It's in the class drive, so you should have downloaded it before now. Just to clarify, Ridwan, we're waiting for you, please.
I'm actually waiting for you. I can't share my screen because hosts have disabled sharing screen. So you are the one I'm waiting for.
Okay, please share now.
Okay, I'll do that now. Can you all see my screen, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yes, we can see it.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so can we proceed?
We can.
Okay, please, can you mute your mic now? Okay, so good. So now, so we are talking about what? Integers now. What I said earlier, I said, yeah, A equals to 1 here, B equals to -7, C equals 2. Now, yeah, C equals 2 here. Python is evaluating this is to 1. Python is evaluating this to 1 because what in Python in programming, false is 0 and true is 1. In I hope you are all following. So in this particular operation, if we run it now, you see to give us what -5 because what 1 minus 7 is -6 and -6 plus 2. The 2 there is what is 1. Please, who is that? Can you mute your mic? Olufumi, can you mute your mic, please?
Read one, you can continue.
Okay, all right. So we understand. So that's what our integer does. Now you must know the kind of data that you're working with, because for example, if you are working with people's bank accounts and you declare their bank accounts as integers, there will be problem, because if somebody has 1,275,050 kobo in their account, if you turn it to an integer, it will remove everything after decimal point. They can come and fight you. So you have to know what the data type you are working with, and how to. Another thing is, if you are working with simple data type, takes up space, they take up memory space. So if you are working with simple program, it's better you use what a simple data type that will consume less memory, because what you don't want to have what a program that just eating up what your memory. So that's why it's very good to know data types. Now, what about strings? Strings are a series of characters. They are immutable. You can't change them. You can't interchange them. So a string can be enclosed with what with single or double quotes, whichever you want to use. But you must ensure that what you are consistent. I hope I'm actually making myself clear. If you notice here, in this part, ABC is enclosed with single quotes, DEF is enclosed with double quotes. So if you use single quotes, make sure you're using single quote or two. If you use double quote, make sure you're using double quote or two. Another reason why we use double quotes is this. For example, look at this particular statement. But this, if you are using the possessive pronoun, so I said possessive pronoun. So we are using the shorthand for is or have, like this. If I want to enclose this, I cannot use a single quote, because if I use a single quote, Python will assume that what this is the end of my string, whereas this is the end of my string. So instead of using a single quote here, I will use a double quote. Then I'll come to the end, use a double quote. So it will what Python will ignore this quote in the middle. Please, are we getting it? Now, string can also be concatenated. What do I mean by that? We can add string together. This is ABC, this is DEF. If you C is A plus B, that means what you can add the strings together. You can join them together end to end. So ABC plus DEF, if you join them together end to end, what are you going to have? You're going to have what ABCDEF. Is that understood? Any question up to this point? Is that understood?
It's very clear. Very clear.
Okay. All right.
I have a question.
Now, in this next cell, we want to check how we can actually slice a string. In Python, it should be used to this particular idea. Programmers start counting from 0. So the first element, the first item, or the first element of a string is actually what's indexed by 0. Index is what is the position they occupy. So the first item, which is this A, has index 0. The second item, B, has index of 1. The third item has index of 2. So if I want to print out just what the first item in this particular string, I'm going to change this to what? To 0. And if I run it, I'm going to have what? A, which is what? The first item. If I take this to 1, I'll be indexing the second item. If I change this to 2, I'll be indexing to C. If I mistakenly change this to 3, it will give me an error, index error. It's trying to tell me that what the index does not exist. I have gone beyond the index for that particular iterable. I hope I'm actually clear. Do we understand it now? So I'm going to change this to 1 so that we can have something that is making sense. Please, do we understand this? Is this clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. Now, another thing again. At the beginning of the string part, we said what string are what? They are immutable. You cannot change a particular string. Now, I cannot assign D. Now, please, this equals to sign is not, it doesn't really mean equal to, it means assignment in programming. It means assignment. That means what? You are assigning the value on the right hand side to the left hand side. Now, I cannot assign D to A. What is going to give me? It's going to produce error. Type error. String object does not support item assignment. You cannot what? You cannot add D to that string. Strings are immutable. I hope we are clear with that. So this is going to give us what? Error. Now, what about this? But we can what? We can get elements from a string to form another string through what? Concatenation. What happens here? This A of 0 is going to select what? The first item or the first element in A. What is our A? Our A is ABC. So it's going to select what? The first item, which is this. It's going to add it to D, which is a string. Then it's going to what? Select what? The third item, which is A of 2, which is third item here. And what? It's going to what? It's going to assign it to what? To A. So A has now become what? Everything here. If we run this, this will give us what? ADC. Where A came from what? A, this is A, this is D, which is here, and this is what? This is C. Please, do you understand it? Is it clear up to this point?
Yes.
Okay, now.
Hello. I'm having issue with my node. I can't get an output.
You have to run it if you want to get an output. Look, this is run here. You have to run it if you want to get an output. Run.
When I click run,
Except if you've closed this particular window, you've closed the Jupyter or the Jupyter server. If you close the Jupyter server, it will not run. You have to open Jupyter again. If you close Jupyter server, it will not run. Now, this is another string now. -1 is what? I told you that what in program you start counting from 0. That is where we are counting.
Ridwan, sorry.
Yes?
Please, can you go over the addition string again? Go over the string addition again. People are not clear in the chat room. Yes.
Okay. The concatenation. All right. Now let's come here. A equals what? ABC. If this were what? We are integers or floats. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. So here, A equals what? ABC. B equals what? DEF. Now C, we are adding what? A and B together. A and B together. So ABC, so DEF is going to be what? Added to the what? The end of what? ABC. So we are concatenating them. We are joining them together end to end. So this is what we're going to have what? ABC, DEF. Is that clear now? Then this part here, okay, let's do it this way. I'm going to run this again. Then I'm going to, now look at this particular operation here is taking the what? The first element of this string A. Let me print out A for you here. Look at this is A, ABC. So A of 0 is A. So this particular part here is just what? Is A. Now, what about A of 2? A of 2 here is what? Is C. So what this is doing is joining what? It will join A plus D plus C together to give us what? ADC. Do you understand it now? Okay, you don't need to delete error. Just run the cell again. Immediately you clear your error, just run the cell. You don't need to delete the error. Just run the cell. You get? If you correct the error, if you run the cell, the error will not be there again. And you can add another cell. If you don't want that cell again, you can add it. Okay, so can we proceed now? Okay, why are we not using print statement? The thing is, Jupyter makes it very comfortable for you. That what? If your last item, you don't need to use print. If I add something else after this, let me add print. Read one here. If I add print, read one here. You can see that way. It's only printing out read one. It should not print out A again. But if A was the last thing that was there, it will print out what? It will display A. So that's the beauty of using Jupyter Notebook. It will really help you to limit something. So you don't need to put print on A. So that it's because it's Jupyter. But if you're writing this for if you're writing for if you want to convert it to a program that everybody can run, you have to put print there because if they're running somewhere else apart from Jupyter, it's going to give them problem. Then so let's proceed. So we are here now. Look at this wonderful string. We have 1, 2, 3 ASC 4, 5 RT. Now, so I told you that the programmer starts counting from 0. That's where we are counting from the left. When we are counting from the left here to the right, this is 0, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. But if you are counting from the right to the left, that means you are counting from this place. There's nothing like -0 in mathematics. So we start counting from the left, from 1, 2, 3. But if to indicate that we are counting from the right, sorry, we are going to introduce a negative sign. So this A minus 1 is telling us that we are counting from the right, and we are selecting the fourth item. And the first item from the right is is the last item. Is the last item. So print A or minus 1.
Mr. Abraham, please can you come again?
Okay. So I told you that if you start counting from 0 in programming, that is when we are when we are actually indexing from the left to the right. That means we are going this way from 1, 2, 3. We are going that way. But if we are coming from this direction, like this, that means we are coming from the back to the front. We start counting we start counting with negative, and there's no -0. So we start counting from -1. So this is -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Do you understand that? So this -1 is actually the last item of the list. So this particular print A of -1 is going to print the last item on that, or is going to be the last item in this string, and that will be that is T. Are we following?
Ridwan.
Yes.
Please, can you slow down the pace at which you say? I can understand what you're saying, but please slow down the pace at which you talk. I mean,
okay,
you are a little bit rushing.
Okay, all right, okay, no problem.
And you're doing a nice job. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay, I'll slow down now. What I'm trying to say is this.
Okay, Ridwan, sorry to cut you short, but please, before you speak, please raise your hands. You're not supposed to speak without raising your hand. This is a large crowd, so please let's try to observe decorum. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you. Okay, so let me go over this again. I said programmers start counting from 0, like we've been doing before. So when we are counting from 0, we're actually counting from left to right, from the front to the back. But if we want to count from back to front, we introduce the negative, and there's no -0. So we start from -1, -2, -3, and so on and so forth. So -1 is the last item. That's how we have this. So if I run this now, it's going to give me T. If I change this to 2, it's going to give me R, because this is -1, this is -2. Are we following? So -1 is is a very good thing for you to know in case you want to get to the last item. Now, I'll go with this. Another thing is to index with range. Is to index with range. If you want to select some particular, maybe you want to cut the string. Maybe you want to cut it from from the second to the third. Or you want to cut from the second to the last, or from the first to the last, from the first to the fourth. How do we index it? This time around, we can index with both positive and both negative, as long as you understand what they stand for. Now look at it. This is 1, right? We know that 1 stands for what? It stands for the second item on the string, right? So this column is showing us that we are using range. That means from a particular range to a particular range, from a particular value to a particular value. If you don't introduce the second, you see this fourth part is what we call start. You see this, if you don't introduce the last part, that means you are saying from start to end. So this particular string is going to print from the second item to the last item, because we did not specify where to stop. So if I print it now, you can say that 1 is the only one that is not included. So it's going to start from the second item to the last item, because you did not you didn't specify. Let's assume I actually specify something here. Let me specify 3. 3 here. Look at 23. What did you do? It started from the what? Started from the second, which is 0, which is 2, and it stopped what? It stopped on the third item. Please, are we following? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Mr. Ridwan.
Yes, Ridwan. Yes. Some hands are raised in the chat area.
Yes, it's me. I was the one that raised my hand. Mr. Ridwan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, now assuming, for the fourth line, the print A square bracket 1 to -1.
We'll get to that place. Let me I will explain that.
Okay, well, no, what I'm trying to say is that assuming I don't want to print out maybe 4 numbers inside the whole thing. So now will it be that particular number 1 comma?
No, it's not a particular.
Comma something.
No, it's not a particular number. What we have in this bracket are indices, not the particular. This thing might not be number. It might actually be letter. Yes, let me change this to hello word. Let me change
what I'm saying is that now the line 4 is print A square bracket 1 to -1.
-1. Yes.
Exactly. So, now the T stands for the -1.
Yes, the -1 stands for the last item.
Yes, and the 2 stand for the 1.
And
right?
Yes, and 1 stands for the second item.
Second item, that's 2.
Yes, that's 2.
Now, what I'm now saying is that assuming I don't want to display 4 of the items inside the A.
Okay, you don't want to display 4 of the item.
Exactly. So we need to be comma.
No, you don't need that. You see, there are various ways depending on your skills. You can delete them. Okay. You can delete them, or you can assign them. If I wanted to, now look at this now. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. If I actually say B equals to A, that means what? A is constant. Nothing is going to happen to A. But I've assigned A to B now. So now I want to change B. Now I can say B, or I can say B equals what? A, the first item, plus A. Maybe I want from the second to the fourth. Then I want plus A, the last item, which is -1. Then you get, so what you can do with Python, it depends on your own ability and your understanding. So if you understand all these basics, you can tweak and do whatever you want to do. You'll be limitless. That's the beautiful thing here. So what you can do is just it's dependent on your own ability to think. Okay, so let's proceed. So now, the next thing we have is conditions. And look, I hope all the basics that I explained, they are very clear. So now on to this condition. That's conditional statements. So after conditions and loop, we'll look at what? We'll look at indentations, then we'll look at list, tuples, dictionaries, then we'll look at functions. After we look at errors and exceptions. So please, let's look at conditionals. So conditionals are just what? They are okay. When I was explaining the data type, I said there are some things we call them Boolean type. They evaluate what to true or false. For example, you might want to make a condition for your program to run. Then, okay, if you get to this particular value, please stop this program. If you have got it, or maybe you want to get a certain value. In order to get a certain value, you want to stop your program from running, or you don't want your program to hit error. Okay, because you know that when you divide by 0, you might hit error. And you know there's some values in your data that are 0 that you don't want your program to crash. So conditionals will help you to control the flow of your program using what? Yes or no. And examples of conditionals in Python, conditional statements, are if, else, and else if. But else if in Python there's a shorthand for it called what? Elif. ELIF. That is shorthand for what? For else if in Python. So the first one, which is the simplest, in fact, all the conditionals are very simple. Everything in Python is very simple. You just need to pay attention. And as you can see, most of these things they're just English statements, right? They're just English statements. They're just English statements. So loops are also there too. If you want to run your program, maybe 1,000 times, you don't have to write the program 1,000 times. Loops, they help you to what? To run your program a particular number of times. You really want to specify the number of times based on what? On some conditions that will evaluate to what? To true or false also. So loops, the loops that we'll consider here are the what? The while and the for loops. So we are going to treat the what? The while loop first. Why? It's basically English. While you are still eating, don't talk. While I'm still talking, raise your hand before you talk in the group. Raise your hand before you talk. So it's just what normal English statement. Why this is still happening? Don't do this. Why this happening? Don't do this. For example, now, please look at this program. Look at this program here. It said here, A equals to 0. That's our first assignment. Then it says what? While A is less than 10. That's our condition. A equals what? A plus 1. We are increasing it. Then what? Print A. Please, let's leave this program first. Look at this explanation that I provided here. But it's very simple. The first thing that it does is what? It asks, is A less than 10? Yes. It is 0. It will make what? A 1 larger by adding 1 to it. Then it will print on screen what A is. Then it will ask another question. Is A less than 10? Yes, it is 1 because A has become 1 now. Then it what? Make A larger by adding 1 to it. Then it's what? It will print. It will do this, it will do that until what? Until that condition fails. Please, are we getting it? Do we understand it?
Yes.
Okay, so fantastic. So let's run this program now. Let's run this program. So if I run this program now, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So once A is more than what? Is more than 10, the program what? The program will stop. So why that is what? How why condition works. Another, so you will notice that what? The line here, they are indented. Let me add number lines to my, so that you can see it very well. Was that I added it before? If you look at number 4, 5, number 4 and 5, they are indented. What do I mean by indentation? Indentations are what? Are how Python specify its block. This indentation is showing us that what? Line 4 and line 5 belongs to the Y block. That's what they are.
Sorry, please can you go over conditionals again? Condition and loop. Some people in the chat box don't understand. Can you go over it again?
So conditionals and loop. Conditional is just, that's what they are statements that are used to control the flow of your program, to ask questions. If this is happening, do this. If this is not happening, don't do this. It's just what? How you condition your program to flow. They help you to control the flow of your program. It's just like asking questions. If this is true, stop the program. The conditionals, they operate on what? On Boolean operators. What are Boolean operators? I said it the other time. The operators are what? They evaluate towards to either true or false, either yes or no, either 0 or 1. So that's what conditionals do. And we have different conditional statements in Python. We have the if statement by asking questions. If this is this, don't do this. If this is this, do this. It's just what? Like asking questions. Else is what? If returns what? Fail. If returns what? False. Else is what it's going to do. If you are not buying, if the shoe is more than 500, please buy. Else don't buy. So else is what is going to happen if returns false. Why else if? In case you want to test a lot of conditions, maybe what? If the shoe is less than 500, please buy. Else if the shoe is between 400 and 600, please buy. Else if the shoe is fine and is above 500, please buy. Else don't buy. So it's just basically what? You asking what? Stating what? Some questions that needs to be answered for your program to run. Please, do we understand it now? you understand it now? Can I continue now?
Yes, please go ahead with one.
Okay, so now, so loops are what? Loops help you to what? To run your program a particular number of times. You continue running them, because if you want to run your program 1 million times, you cannot write it 1 million times. But if you use loops, loop means what? When you say something is looping, it's repeated. You will be what? It will help you to repeat it based on what? On the condition that you set. As long as what? The condition that you set is true, it will continue to loop. If your condition never returns false, that loop will run forever until your system crash. It will become an infinite loop. So in the future, if you're going to have what? A high superpower, that AI superpower will be running the what? It will run in an infinite loop. So unless we can stop that loop, the AI will continue to run. And I don't think most of us will be alive by the time that will happen. So let's proceed. So while loop and for loop, those are the loops that we're going to consider for this section. So what does while loop does? While it does what? It's just what they tell you, basically basic English. Why this is happening, do this. While I'm still talking, raise your hand before you talk. Why this is happening, do this. So that's just what while statement does. So look at what we have here. Why A is less than 10, increase A by 1, then print A. And that's exactly why I just explained there in pure English without programming. Is A less than 10? Yes, it is 1. Make A1 larger. Now print on screen. Now look at A. Then on the last part, is A less than 10? No, because it is now 10. Therefore, it isn't less than 10. Don't do the loop. There's no code left to do, so the program ends. So that's exactly what happens here. If I run it now, you will see that's exactly. So it's going to print from 1 to 10. Immediately it becomes 10, the program stops. Is that understood now?
Yes, with one.
Okay. All right. So this is the architecture of while loop. While condition that, so this is the condition that the loop continues. What to do in the loop? Have it indented, usually 4 spaces, but basically you can use tab, though PEP 8 I advise that you use 4 spaces, but everybody uses tab. So the code here is not looped. Why? I explained that what? This indentation specified that what? Everything here in line 2 and 3 are in the Y block, because what? They are spaced. If this one that is not spaced is not in the Y block. So immediately this while loop is done, immediately everything here is done, what will happen? It will move to what? To this line and execute whatever is there. So these 2 lines, they are what? They are not indented. They are not part of the what? Of the Y block. This is an example. Now look at x equals to 10. Why x is not equal to 0? Print x. Then look at this. This is what? This is like a countdown timer, like a stopwatch. This is what happens in stopwatch. This is going to be the end of the while loop. And this one is going to print after the while loop is done. Everything here from line 5, line 6, line 7, they are all part of the Y block. But this line 8 is not part of the Y block. So by the time the Y block is done, then this particular block will start executing. So if I execute this now, you can see 10. We've counted x down to 9 because so this is what you have. Then now the loop has ended. So what I did here is just what we call using print function to join 2 things together. Let me explain that briefly here. If I want to print 2 items, if I print this, print 1, print 2, you can see it's going to print them on separate line. But if I actually want to print these 2 items on the same line, I can actually separate them with a comma. Then it will be on the same line. So that's also what a good Python trick that you can learn. Can print them on the same line. So there are so many others too. You can format using print. You can do so many other things, but a good programmer always do research. You can never learn everything from one person. So you have to research more on your own. There are so many things that you need to know to be a very good programmer. But this is the start. If you understand this, and you are really good to go. So this is while loop. I hope we are clear with while loop. I hope you understand while loop. Then this is a for loop. For loop is similar to while loop. They are both loop, but the advantage that for loop has is that it can iterates over iterables. What I mean by iterables are what things that you can split into let me say, okay, you can split them into one. You can split them. So for loop can actually act on them. For example, look at this my bag. Remember that what when we're doing string indexing, we're able to what to select my M, we can select Y, we can select B, we can select A, we can select G. That's because of we can split this my bag into the letters. Is that so? That means what we can separate it. So if we can separate it, then for loop can work on it. Anything that we can separate into items, for loop can work on it. But so you are going to use this for loop throughout your programming career. So you because you will be working with data, you working with containers. So anything that is a container, for loop can work over it. So what does for loop do? It iterates over a particular iterable. Iterables are things that you can separate. Now look at it. It says what for I in item. It's telling us that what for everything in item, for each item in my bag, for each element in item. So that I is representing what that particular item at that point in time. So if you run this thing now, I is representing M. After printing this, it will come back. I is representing Y, then it will represent B, it will represent A, it will represent G. Let me run it. What do you have? So when you run the first time, I is representing M, so it prints M. The second time, I is representing Y, it prints Y. The third time, B, A, G. Please, do we understand that? We're still going to use this for loop later when we are under containers. But I just want I want us to have a basic understanding of what for loop does. Now look at this next cell. This next cell uses an inbuilt Python function called range. And what does range do? Range counts. Yes, Python doesn't want it to be counting. Okay, it's not clear. Let me explain again. You know, we've actually operated on strings before where we're selecting it. You've operated on string before where we are able to do something like this. So since we can separate a string, for loop can actually work on it. So anything that we can separate into items, into each element, for loops can actually work on them. Now it's saying for I in item. This is saying what for I represents every element in the iterable, every element in the particular item that we are looping through. So I represents what M is printing. So it's printing what M here. I represents Y, it prints Y. Represent B, it prints B throughout. Do you understand that now?
Yes, we do. And but someone is raising their hand.
Okay, it said, how come I stand for every entire item? Yeah, because we are saying what? Look at what this is said. I'm saying, okay, what if I say for everybody in this class, you are getting 5 marks? If I say for everybody in this class, you are getting 1,000 naira, what do I mean? It's exactly. It doesn't have to be I. I can change it. I can thank you. Thank you so much, Admin. I can change it to X. Just so that if I change to X, then this one will become what? X also. I can change it to X. We're not using this letter to represent the particular item that we are working with. I hope you understand. So X is just what representing that item at that point in time that we are looking. It's just a variable name. It's just what it contains. It's a container for the value. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, everybody in the chat room. I really appreciate your effort. Thank you. Now, this particular range, if I want to count to 1,000, I don't need to start counting 1, 2, 3 to 100. No, Python has an inbuilt function that can help you to do that. And that is what range. What does range helps you to count? Range helps you to count. If I print range, if I print range 10, you can see range 0 to 10. So it's going to start counting from 0 to 10. But range has one particular disadvantage. It does not include the endpoint. If I tell you to print from 0 to 10, it's going to print 0 to 9. It does not include the endpoint. So if you want to include the endpoint, always add 1 to it. So if I add 1 to this, if I add 1 to it, it's going to print from 0 to 10. Do you understand? So this is the start. So it stops before it gets to this point. That's what range does. So range is an inbuilt Python function that enables you to count. So that's what it does. So what we are doing here for I in range 100, let me for I in range 10. Let's print I. Let's examine it. Look at this. So it's going to start counting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's not going to what? It's not going to get to 10. If I want to get to 10, I'll just change it to 11. So it's going to get to 10 now. So in range, you can also specify what? You can specify steps. But let's assume I just want what? I want even numbers. I just want to, and you know what? Every even number is spaced by 2. So if I start from what? If I start from 0, I have what? If I start from 2, I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on and so forth. So you can also what? You can also specify what? The step that you want in range. There are other range too. In NumPy, you have what? The A range that has that what? Additional function. But now the default step here is 1. The default step is 1. So for I in range 100, it's going to count from 0 to 99. And we know that what? All even numbers, when you divide them by 2, the remainder will be 0. So this particular code here is going to only print out what? Even numbers. Because what? This particular operator, modulo, it's what? It gets the remainder of a particular, it gets the remainder. For if I say 4 divided by 3, I have 1.3333. But if I say 4 modulo 3, it's going to give me the remainder, which is 1. Because what? 3 goes in 4 just once, and into what? 1 is left. So this modulo gives the what? It gives the remainder in an integer division. Please, are we following? Do we understand it? So this particular condition here, I'm going to explain how this works. Yes?
Hello. Which one?
Hello,
We
yes.
understand. A couple of people have raised their hands. Babalola first, and then Raimot. Sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Babalola, are you there?
Don't worry. Yes, I'm there. I've got you. Don't worry. I've got you.
Okay, please lower your hand. Raimot, you want to ask a question? Hello, Raimot. You have a question? Okay, let's go ahead. I'll lower his hand. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay. So this particular condition is going to ensure that what? We are, like I explained earlier on if, it's going to ensure that what? That we are printing out what? Even number, because what? He said if the remainder of the integer division between I and 2 is 0, print I is an even number. So if we do this now, it's only going to print what? Even numbers. But every program, you have to examine the output to know that what you are doing the right thing, so that it will not skip some numbers. Don't worry, when you are writing some complicated programs, you realize that what and this is garbage in, garbage out. The program is never wrong. It's what he typed there that it does. Now, this is my own particular assignment to you guys. I want you to write a Python program that detects prime numbers between 1 and 10. Don't search on Google, do it yourself. It's something that you can do. Don't search on Google, but write a Python program that can detect prime numbers between 1 and 10. If you can get that, then extend it to 1 and 100. If you can get that, extend it to what? 1 and 1,000, then 1 and 2,000. The more you practice, the better you get. So let me just go through these conditionals. If we can ask questions, then I think we can round off for the day. So, like I explained earlier, conditionals are just what? Ways by which
sorry, Ridwan. Before I don't want for you to go far and somebody will drag back. So let's just say the questions that will come. So Uche Wiz is raising his hand. So Uche Wiz, please, you see Wiz, please can you unmute yourself? Yeah.
Okay. Please, I want to know what that percentage signifies. Like, can you explain what the answer is?
Okay, I just explained. Let me go over it again. I said it is a modulo. It gives us the remainder. For example, if I say 4 divided by 3, now it's going to give me this 1.3333. But if I want to get the remainder, when 4 divides 3, sorry, when 4 is divided by 3, I'll just put this. So this is going to give me the remainder. So that modulo give us what the remainder. So 3 goes in 4, then it remains what? If 3 goes in 4 just once, then it remains what? 1. So modulo is just what? It's just an operator that gives us the remainder of an integer division. I hope that's understood now. So admin, is there any other person?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Admin, is there any other person?
No, please go ahead with one.
Okay. So conditionals now. I explained earlier, just wait for you to specify the conditions that must be met for some particular things to be done. So if, like I explained earlier, if the price of the shoe is greater than 500, is less than 500, buy. Else, don't buy. If you want to specify more condition, if the price of the shoe is less than 500, buy. Else, if the price of the shoe is between 300 and 700, buy. Else, if the shoe is above 700 but it's fine, buy. Else, which is the last resort, don't buy. So it's just what it just the plain you just have to put it what in programming statements. Look at what we said. They say y equals to 1. If y is the same thing as 1, print y still equals 1. I was just checking. So this was what this checks. Now look at don't confuse equals to sign with this assignment and this operator. This operator checks for what if the left and right hand side are the same. Why this operator assign the value of the right hand side to the left hand side? Let me take it one more time. This assignment operator assigns the value on the right hand side to the left hand side. That means what it makes what y to be equals to 1. Why this particular operator checks if the value of the left hand side is the same thing as the value on the right hand side. So if I run this now, you see what y still equals 1. I was just checking because what y is still 1. Understood? So this is our second example. Okay, let me change the chat room. Okay, fantastic. So it's our second.
Hello, Ridwan. There's a question in the chat. If they run a code
Yes,
and
I
they
can
don't
hear
want
you.
to see it again, how is there a way to remove the output if they don't want to see it again?
Yes, you can remove the output. Just come here. Just come to cell. Just current output. Clear the output. Can you see my screen? Just current output. So for this one now that I just run, let me come here. Cell. Current output. Just clear it. And you can even clear the whole output. There are times that your Jupyter will fail if you have too much output. But that's if maybe you have maybe you have a data that's up to like 2 million rows and you printed it like 4 times or you printed it like 10 times. So you're now having like 10 times 2 million rows, going to like 20 million rows or 30 million rows. Get so 30 million rows are like maybe 400 columns. Get your Jupyter might start misbehaving. In fact, it might not even open. So there's a way to actually do that, but that's on an advanced level. There's nothing that you want to do that's not available on Google. When you have the fantastic thing about Python. When you run into any particular problem, just Google search it. There's a very high probability that what somebody else has run into that same problem that you have. Just Google search the error, you'll find the solution to it. It's simple. Or you can call somebody. If you call me on phone, I'm going to charge you. So let's go to our second example. We want to combine while loop with our if condition. Look at what it's saying. It says what y n is less than or equals to 20. That means what we are counting down, but we don't want to go above 20. If the modulo of n and 2 is 0, that means what if n is even, print n. Then we increase the value of n here. Then this one is not part of the y function. It just what at the end when it's finally done, it should just do what there done. So if I run this now, this is what we have. We'll show the even numbers up to 20. So we are count. So instead of using, look at this now, instead of using range for I in range 20, what did you do here? We use what? While n, you can see that what? While function and for function, while loop and for loop, they perform similar function. But what? One is what? One is more compact than the other. The same thing that we did here, this same thing, we can do it using for loop. You could say for I in range 20. But remember that what 20 must be included, so let's do 21 so that 20 can be included. If I modulo 2 is equals 0, if I modulo 2 equals 0, print I. Then let's print the last statement here. Let me just copy and paste. Same thing. Yeah, in for loop here, we didn't need to use what a variable. We didn't need to start increasing the variable so that we can start counting up from 1. We didn't even need to define what n. You can see here in while loop, we needed to specify what n is. Then we start using what n to count. The same way you start counting 0, 1, 2, 3. That's exactly what while loop is doing. But yeah, we can use what the inbuilt Python function range. Do we understand that? Now I said what if we want to specify what more condition, we can always use what else if. Else is the final result. When everything has happened, when you have done, you have considered every other option, else is the last thing that will be done. So you don't put else in between if and else if. No, else must always be the last. So, and it's not compulsory that you put what else after if. For example, if you notice here, when we used if statement here, we did not put any else. So it's not compulsory that you put what else after if. But else cannot stand alone. If you are using else, there must be an if statement before it. Because what if when the condition in if returns true, what if the statement under if we run? If that statement returns false, then to go to the else. So else must what? There must be an if statement above else. Else we fail. Let's put it that way. So look at this now. A equals to 1. If A is greater than 5, this shouldn't happen. Else this should happen. So look at this now. So since A is not greater than 5, then else will be the one that will run. Because what? This is going to return what? False. It's going to return false. So this will not run. This will run. Then else if is just what the shortened way of saying else if. Else is the shorthand. Like I said, to specify what? More function. Look at this. If z is greater than 7, print something is very wrong. If z is less than 7, this is normal. So you can see that what even we didn't use else statements here, just what if and else if. You can have what as much else if as you like, but you can just have what one else in an if following an if. You can have if as nested if, and you can have what as much else if as you like, but just what one else, because else is what is the final, is what concludes the whole thing. Please, do we understand?
Hello,
and I've explained indentation the other time. Yes.
Okay, so there's a question. Someone is raising his hand in the chat section. But I was just thinking, since we've kind of encroached into module 3, we can call it a day for today and resume tomorrow. So just take questions and then we'll resume from here tomorrow. Since we have, we've made tangible progress.
Yes.
So we're gonna take questions for 15 minutes and call it a day.
Oh, 15 minutes?
Yeah, 15 minutes. So we end at 1:30. We don't want it to be too bulky now.
I mean, my hands has been up. I have a challenge. My notebook is not running. I can't see an out. I've tried the trick everyone gave me. Not giving me an out. I don't know what to do.
Okay, wait. When you run your notebook, does it appear like this? Does it appear like empty box like this? If you run it, it does appears like this.
Yes.
Then the Jupyter server is not running.
Then what could be challenge?
Okay, let me share what I mean by Jupyter server. Okay, I can share. Okay, maybe after the class, I would after the whole section, let's talk after the whole section. Then I would see what I can do about it. Okay, so okay.
Hello, everyone. Maybe we can take questions for say 10 minutes and then do a general announcement and call it a day, so it's not too long.
Okay, all right, okay. That's okay. That's
if you have questions, you can raise your hands or in the chat sections. We'll take additional questions for 10 minutes.
Okay, he said, what is this equal to? Equal to is an operator, is a Boolean operator. It checks. No, it does not mean that the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. No, it doesn't mean that. It checks if the left hand side is the same thing as the right hand side. Yet, if I say A equals to B, I'm not saying left hand side equals to right hand side. What I'm saying is what? It checks if the left and the right hand side are the same. But if I say A equals to B, okay, let me do something here. Let me do something here. If I say A equals to B, I'm saying what? A, the value of A is B. But if I say A equals to B, I'm saying check if the value of A is the same thing as the value of B. That is what, so this is a Boolean operator. All the Boolean operators that we have, these are the Boolean operators that we have. This, we have not equals to, we have greater than, we have less than, we have greater than this, we have greater than or equals to. So these are the Boolean operators that we have. So all these, they return true or false, yes or no, 1 or 0. Exactly.
Yes, it's clear, Ridwan. So, do you have any other questions? Someone says, could you please make a recap on how to write a function on prime numbers? We didn't talk on that. It's an assignment, and I'm sure Ridwan will discuss on the assignment tomorrow. But to give you a hint, you'll be needing the modulus to write your code. But it's supposed to be an assignment, so just try your hands on it, and then let's come back, convene tomorrow. So there's no other question in the chat area. If you want to ask a question, you can. Okay, some hands are raised. Okay, so we'll take those 3 hands, right? We'll take it and call it a day. So Umar Idris, please unmute yourself and speak.
All right, thank you very much, admin. I was one that asked earlier, my Jupyter notebook, I can get an out, and he promised to show me how to connect server. That's just my question. I can get an out. I've been running all the code here. I can't get an out.
Okay, no problem. You can send a mail to us, right? Just send a mail to EAGE and we'll escalate it to Ridwan. He already mentioned being in touch with him, so we'll escalate it to him. So Uchi, please unmute yourself and speak.
Okay, please. I want to know if there's a principle how you end a line, a code, because some of them I can see colon or semicolon. I can't really see it clear, and some of my codes they are saying invalid syntax. So I want to know how you end the lines. Like
Okay.
Which principle?
Okay. If you,
I can see.
If you are very observant, you notice that what Jupyter colors some things differently. You see all these things that Jupyter colors in green, they are inbuilt functions, they are inbuilt statements, inbuilt literals that are particular to Python. Now I'm using if statements, else statements. The column there specifies what? That the beginning of a block. So if I'm going to use if statement now, this is A equals to 1. Does A equals to 1 is just an assignment. It does not need a block to run. It does not need additional statements. But look at this if now. If needs additional assignment, we are saying what if it's a condition. So if this condition is this, do this. So that's why what we have this column there, and we have this statement. So it's just what syntax. Just have to learn what the syntax of the programming language that you want to run. If you are not working with Python, if you are working with another programming language, the syntax will be different. So if you keep studying the code, then you understand what the syntax of that programming language. But since you know that what following an if statement, a column will follow it. While loop, a column will follow it. For a column will follow it. All the conditionals and the loop, a column will follow them. But for assignment, you don't need a column for assignment. Okay. Any other person?
Yes, NeoSmart4, please raise your hands. Please unmute yourself. NeoSmart, are you there? Okay, so iPhone guests that raised their hands up, please unmute yourself. If you're there, let's take your question. Okay, iPhone guest has unmuted. Can you go ahead, please? Okay, iPhone guest is not speaking. Okay, so we've come to the end of today's class. Thank you very, very much, Ridwan Amora. It has been a very, very engaging session, I must say. For those of us that it seemed that the class was too fast and you want something at a slower pace, something you can start, stop, run your own code, see if it's the same output with its own, please, we are live on YouTube and we'll be ending the stream shortly, but the recording will be available on demand. You can watch it, pause, stop, chat, and come back with your questions tomorrow. Please try to attempt the assignment that Ridwan has given to us. We'll be going over it tomorrow. Today is the first day of 5, and I can say it has been a very, very huge success. Thanks to everybody that joined in. We are going to be continuing tomorrow, Sunday, and completing the remaining modules next week. If you're interested in getting the certificate for this class, you want to be certified as a Python user. For those that want to be certified, we are going to be assigning you a handheld project. So for those of us that want to be certified, you work on a project and then you get an instructor. Each of the facilitators for the course will serve as an instructor for you, and then you'll be certified. And it comes from you can get that for a stipend of 5,000 naira. So if you're interested, don't forget to fill the form sent to you in your mails, because that is what we'll strictly be working with. Don't come back later to say you want certificates, because we are trying to, for proper organization. So thank you, everyone, and I hope you have a nice night, and I look forward to meeting you tomorrow again. Please come prepared. If you've not downloaded your materials, download it. I'm sure we are conversant with how to run our Jupyter Notebook now. So please, we look forward to having a good time with you tomorrow, and have a nice night. Cheers.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks. See you tomorrow.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Now, make you first.
Hello.
Hello, we're still here.
Hello.
Hello, we're still here.
Yeah. Okay. So I got a mail for this class. I think it's supposed to be